In a world where knowledge shapes destiny, one creation dares to redefine the future. From the minds at xAI, prepare for Grok 4. This summer, the next generation arrives. Faster, smarter, bolder. It sees beyond the horizon, answers the unasked, and challenges the impossible. Grok 4, Unleash the Truth, coming this summer.
All right, welcome to the Grok 4 release here. This is the smartest AI in the world, and we're going to show you exactly how and why. And it really is remarkable to see the advancement of artificial intelligence, how quickly it is evolving. I sometimes compare it to the growth of a human and how fast a human learns and gains conscious awareness and understanding. And AI is advancing just vastly faster than any human. We're going to take you through a bunch of benchmarks that Grok 4 is able to achieve incredible numbers on. But it's actually worth noting that Grok 4, if given like the SAT, would get perfect SATs every time, even if it's never seen the questions before. And if even going beyond that to say graduate student exams like the GRE, it will get near perfect results in every discipline of education. So from the humanities to like languages, math, physics, engineering, pick anything. And we're talking about questions that it's never seen before. These are not on the internet. And Grok 4 is smarter than almost all graduate students in all disciplines simultaneously. It's actually just important to appreciate that's really something. And the reasoning capabilities of Grok are incredible. So there's some people out there who think AI can't reason. And look, it can reason at superhuman level. Yeah, and frankly, it only gets better from here. We'll take you through the Grok 4 release and show you like the pace of progress here. I guess the first part is like, in terms of the training, we're going from Grok 2 to Grok 3 to Grok 4. We've essentially increased the training by an order of magnitude in each case. So it's 100 times more training than Grok 2, and that's only going to increase. So it's, frankly, I don't know, in some ways a little terrifying, but the growth of intelligence here is remarkable.
What's going to happen? So this is the story of Grok 4, and Tony, share some insight with the audience.
Yeah. So let's just talk about how smart Grok 4 is. So I guess we can start discussing this benchmark called Humanities Last Exam. And this benchmark is a very challenging benchmark. Every single problem is curated by subject matter experts. It's in total 2,500 problems, and it consists of many different subjects: mathematics, natural sciences, engineering, and also all the humanities subjects. Essentially, when it was first released, actually like earlier this year, most of the models out there can only get single-digit accuracy on this benchmark. Yeah, so we can look at some of those examples. So there is this mathematical problem, which is about natural transformations in category theory. And there's this organic chemistry problem that talks about electrocyclic reactions. And also there's this linguistic problem that tries to ask you about distinguishing between closed and open syllabus from a Hebrew source text. So you can see also it's a very wide range of problems. And every single problem is PhD or even advanced research level problems.
Yeah, there are no humans that can actually answer these, can get a good score. If you actually say like any given human, what's the best that any human could score? I'd say maybe 5% optimistically.
Yeah.
So this is much harder than what any human can do. It's incredibly difficult. And you can see from the types of questions, like you might be incredible in linguistics or mathematics or chemistry or physics or any one of a number of subjects, but you're not going to be at a postgrad level in everything. And Grok 4 is a postgrad level in everything. Like some of these things are just worth repeating. Like Grok 4 is postgraduate, like PhD level in everything. Better than PhD, but like most PhDs would fail. So it's better that said, at least with respect to academic questions, I want to just emphasize this point. With respect to academic questions, Grok 4 is better than PhD level in every subject, no exceptions. Now, this doesn't mean that at times it may lack common sense, and it has not yet invented new technologies or discovered new physics, but that is just a matter of time. I think it may discover new technologies as soon as later this year, and I would be shocked if it has not done so next year. So I would expect Grok to literally discover new technologies that are actually useful no later than next year and maybe end of this year. And it might discover new physics next year. And within 2 years, I'd say almost certainly. So just let that sink in.
So I guess we can talk about what's behind the scene of Grok 4. As Jimmy mentioned, we actually throwing a lot of compute into this training. When it started, it's only also a single digit. Sorry, the previous slide. Sorry. Yeah, it's only a single digit number. But as you start putting in more and more training compute, it started to gradually become smarter and smarter, and eventually solved a quarter of the HLE problems. And this is without any tools. The next thing we did was to adding a tools capability to the model. And unlike Grok 3, I think Grok 3 actually is able to use Claude as well, but here we actually make it more native in the sense that we put the tools into training. Grok 3 was only relying on generalization. Here, we actually put the tools into training. And it turns out this significantly improves the model's capability of using those tools.
Yeah, I remember we had like deep search back in the days.
Yeah.
So how is this different?
Yeah, exactly. So deep search was exactly the Grok 3 reasoning model, but without any specific training, but we only asked it to use those tools. So compared to this, it was much weaker in terms of its tool capability.
And unreliable. Yeah.
And unreliable,
right.
Yes.
And to be clear, these are still, I'd say, this is still fairly primitive tool use. If you compare it to, say, the tools that are used at Tesla or SpaceX, where you're using finite element analysis and computational fluid dynamics, and you're able to run, or say Tesla does like crash simulations, where the simulations are so close to reality that if the test doesn't match the simulation, you assume that the test article is wrong. That's how good the simulations are. So Grok is not currently using any of the tools, the really powerful tools that a company would use, but that is something that we will provide it with later this year. So we'll have the tools that a company has and have very accurate physics simulator. Ultimately, the thing that'll make the biggest difference is being able to interact with the real world via humanoid robots. So you combine Grok with Optimus, and it can actually interact with the real world and figure out if it can formulate an hypothesis and then confirm if that hypothesis is true or not. So we're really, think about like where we are today. We're at the beginning of an immense intelligence explosion. We're in the intelligence Big Bang right now. And we're at the most interesting time to be alive of any time in history. Yeah. Now, that said, we need to make sure that the AI is a good AI, good Grok. And the thing that I think is most important for AI safety, at least my biological neural net tells me, the most important thing for AI is to be maximally truth-seeking. So this is a very fundamental. Like you can think of AI as this super genius child that ultimately will outsmart you, but you can still you can instill the right values and encourage it to be truthful, honorable, good things. Like the values you want to instill in a child that will ultimately grow up to be incredibly powerful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is really, I'd say, we say tools. These are, I'd say, still primitive tools, not the kind of tools that serious commercial companies use. But we will provide it with those tools, and I think it will be able to solve, with those tools, real-world technology problems. In fact, I'm certain of it. It's just a question of how long it takes.
Yes, exactly.
So is it just compute all you need, Tony?
Sorry?
Is it just compute all you need at this point?
You need compute plus the right tools, and then ultimately to be able to interact with the physical world.
Yes.
And then we'll effectively have an economy that is ultimately an economy that is thousands of times bigger than our current economy, or maybe millions of times.
Yeah. We can also look at all the other benchmarks besides HLE. As it turned out, Grok 4 excelled on all the reasoning benchmarks that people usually test on, including GPQA, which is a PhD level problem sets. That's easier compared to HLE. On AMY 25, American Invitation Mathematics exam, with Grok 4 Heavy, we actually got a perfect score. Also on some of the coding benchmark called Live Coding Bench, and also on HMMT, Harvard Math MIT exam, and also USAMO. You can see actually on all of those benchmarks, we often have a very large leap against the second best model out there.
Yeah, we're going to get to the point where it's going to get every answer right in every exam, and where it doesn't get an answer, it's going to tell you what's wrong with the question. Or if the question is ambiguous, disambiguate the question into answers A, B, and C and tell you what answers A, B, and C would be with a disambiguated question. So the only real test then will be reality. Can it make useful technologies, discover new science?